Hello class, welcome back to your online class. So in our previous class we have covered from unit 2, that is plant physiology, chapter called transpiration. Today's class will take up with the last chapter from this particular unit, that is photosynthesis. So first let us understand what is photosynthesis. I hope you all have gone through this particular topic from a junior class itself, right? We all know the basic meaning of photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? It's a process by which plants prepare food. Okay, since plants are the sole producer of our environment, so plants, they prepare food by the process called photosynthesis. So what are the raw materials that is required for preparation of food? Carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. These are the raw materials which are required by the plants to prepare food. And what is the product that is being formed? Glucose, water and oxygen. Our main product is glucose and the byproduct is your oxygen, right? So photosynthesis is the process by which plants utilize carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll in the presence of sunlight to make glucose, and along with the glucose oxygen is also released. Okay, so we got the proper definition of photosynthesis. Now what is the importance of photosynthesis? What is photosynthesis useful for? Since the main product of photosynthesis is glucose, and we all know that for all the animals and plants the fueling agent is glucose. That means the glucose is broken down in order to produce energy, right? So we all the living organisms on earth are dependent upon the plants for food, and the food is produced by the process of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is one of the very useful process. Without it, the survival on the earth would be impossible. Okay, and the other byproduct that is produced during photosynthesis is your oxygen. And we all know that for breakdown of glucose, in order to produce energy, you need, what do you need? You need oxygen. Okay, so I hope you understood the importance. What is the role of photosynthesis in every life of all the animals, all the living organisms that is present on the earth. Okay, now green plants, they prepare food, right? Why only green plants? What is green color of the plant? Because of the green color of the plant is because of a pigment called chlorophyll. Now this chlorophyll only helps in trapping the sunlight. Okay, now this chlorophyll is present within a cell organelle called chloroplast. It is present within a cell organelle called chloroplast. Okay, now this, because of the presence of this chlorophyll only, photosynthesis is possible. So next let us go through the internal structure of a chloroplast in order to know the presence of chlorophyll. Within the chloroplast also, where is this particular chlorophyll called chlorophyll pigment present? So let us go through one diagram which will give you an idea about the basic structure of chloroplast and where the chlorophyll is present. Okay, so now let us go through the basic structure of chloroplast. As we know that chloroplast is present only within a plant cell, right? And this particular cell organelle is generally present in leaves, okay, and also it is present in stomata and some of the younger stem. Okay, now if you look at the structure of a chloroplast, it's a double membrane structure. Okay, two membrane is present, inner and outer membrane. Now if you go through the internal structure of a chloroplast, then inside a chloroplast you can see this flattened sac-like structure. The single flattened sac-like structure is referred to as thylakoids. Okay, and when you pile this sac-like structure together, like you can see here, Okay, when you pile up sac-like structure, it is referred to as granum. Okay, and the walls of this thylakoid have a chlorophyll pigment. Okay, the walls of a thylakoid has chlorophyll pigment, and this thylakoid is interconnected with each other with the help of this interconnecting bars. Okay, you can see that, or it is referred to as lamellae also. You can see the interconnecting bars, and this thylakoid is present within a fluid like structure referred to as stroma. Just like within a cell also we have a fluid like structure called cytoplasm, right? Similarly, this chloroplast also has a fluid like structure within it. It is referred to as stroma. Okay, now photosynthesis can be divided into two types. Okay, light dependent photosynthesis and dark phase photosynthesis. Okay, now light dependent photosynthesis, it takes place in thylakoid, because here you have a chlorophyll, right, and chlorophyll helps in trapping of the sunlight, so it takes place in thylakoid, and your dark phase photosynthesis takes place in granum. Keep this in mind. The multiple type questions, sometimes one word answer is asked from this particular. Where does light dependent photosynthesis, where does it take place in chloroplast? It takes place in thylakoid, and dark phase it takes place in stroma. Okay, white thylakoid, because the wall of the thylakoid has chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is the one responsible for trapping sunlight, so it takes place in thylakoid. Okay, so go through the basic structure of this chloroplast, and if possible try to draw the structure also. Okay, learn to draw this particular structure also, and other than that you should be able, most of the time they ask you to label it. They'll give you the structure and they'll ask you to label. Okay, but for much more understanding, since it's a very simple diagram, so I prefer you people practice drawing this diagram too. Okay, for trapping the sunlight you have what do you have? You have chlorophyll, right? But for letting in of the carbon dioxide gas into the plants, there is a small pore like structure present majorly under the leaves or lower surface of the leaves. Okay, referred to as stomata. Stomata is a pore like structure through which exchange of gases takes place. That means carbon dioxide enter and then oxygen escapes out through the stomata. Now if you look at if you go through the structure of stomata, you can see two guard cell. It is made up of two guard cell, and you have a stomatal pore in between. Okay, now your guard cell, like I told you, it is filled with chloroplast. Okay, and this stomata are this chloroplast in leaves are generally present in your mesophyll cells. Okay, in mesophyll cells this chloroplast is present. So let us go through the structure of the stomata, and then we will discuss theory related with the regulation opening and closing of stomata, because stomata usually opens at daytime but closes at night time. So what is the factor which is leading to opening of the stomata at daytime and closing at night? So we will be discussing, we have two theory, potassium ion concentration theory and sugar theory, but we will be taking into consideration only about potassium ion concentration theory. Okay, let's go through the structure of stomata. Okay, first let us go through the stomata structure, then we will go through the theory related with regulation of stomata, that is opening and closing of stomata. Now if you look at the structure that's given, that's the structure of stomata. You can see stomata is made up of two guard cells, this kidney bean shaped guard cells, and you have a stomatal pore between two. Okay, now your guard cell consists of chloroplast, so photosynthesis is obviously gonna occur in the stomatal region also. Okay, and it has other cell organs just like other plant cells. Okay, so The opening and closing of stomata is because of the movement of water into the guard cell and out of the guard cell. Now this movement of water is based upon two theory I told you. One is potassium ion theory, another is sugar theory. First let us discuss about potassium ion theory. Okay, now potassium ion theory, what does it say, what does it state is, okay, now since your guard cells, they have chloroplast, so during daytime obviously they will undergo photosynthesis, and if they undergo photosynthesis, the glucose is produced and glucose is broken down in order to produce energy in the form of ATP. Okay, so these guard cells, with the help of this ATP, they will draw the potassium ions from nearby cells. You can see these epidermal cells which are present nearby, they will draw potassium ion from epidermal cell into the guard cells. Okay, so what is happening to the solute concentration because of drawing the potassium ion into the guard cell? Solute concentration is increasing, right? So what kind of condition is being formed there? Hypertonic solution is being formed. Hypertonic means more amount of solute as compared to water. Okay, so in that case what happens is, water from your epidermal cell will also eventually enter the guard cell by process of osmosis. Exoosmosis is gonna occur because guard cells are solution of guard cells are hypertonic. Because of that, the water will be entering. Okay, and when as the water enters, the guard cells become turgid, because of which your stomatal pore will be opening. So during daytime your stomata opens. Okay. Now during night, does photosynthesis occur? No, photosynthesis does not occur. Okay, but during the whole daytime, since water has been withdrawn from the epidermal cell, so the concentration of water inside this guard cell is more as compared to nearby epidermal cell. So what happens is, at night from guard cell, water will enter the epidermal cell, because of which guard cell will lose turgidity, it will become flaccid, leading to closing of stomata. Okay, so I hope you understood potassium ion theory. I'll repeat it once again. Potassium ion theory, how does it work? Because during daytime, plants, they undergo photosynthesis. Now during not plant, this stomata, guard cells of stomata, it consists of we are discussing in regard to stomata. So since it consists of chloroplast, so it undergoes photosynthesis, produces glucose. Glucose is broken down to produce energy. Energy is utilized to take in potassium ion from nearby cells. When they take in the potassium ion from nearby cell, what will happen to the solute concentration inside the guard cell? It will be more. Now because of that, hypotonic condition is maintained, and water eventually through exosmosis from nearby cells will enter, and then guard cell will swollen up, become turgid because of the movement of water into the guard cell. That's why opening of stomata. Night, no photosynthesis. Since during daytime water has been taken inside the guard cell, so the water contained inside the guard cell will be more as compared to outside. So during night, water from guard cell will be moving out into the nearby cells. That will lead to shrinkage of a guard cell, okay, or flaccidity. So because of that, the closing of stomata takes place. Okay, so this potassium ion theory is important according to your exam. So you will go through this. Even if you go, if you don't understand it again, you go through what's given in your book. Okay, it's given in very simple language, so you will understand it. Okay. Okay, so in today's class we discussed what is definition, or what is the definition of photosynthesis. Okay, why is it important for us? Okay, and structure of chloroplast, and the opening and closing of stomata, potassium ion concentration theory related to opening and closing of stomata. In our next class, we will be discussing about the two main phases of photosynthesis, that is light dependent phase and light independent or dark phase. Okay, we will be discussing about this, and then we will carry forward with other topics that's given in this particular chapter. Okay. So, go through whatever we have discussed till date, okay, and if you have any issue related to whatever topics we have discussed till now, you can always contact, okay. Thank you so much.